It took a while. Look, it started freezing. But Remy should have just listened to Luna. She told him on today's new episode not to go to Force of Creation, but he want to be hard-headed. I said they always mess up by not being honest. Deke ended up introducing Remy to everybody. Electra was excited to meet Deke's boyfriend before she knew who it was. Hold on. Before she knew who it was. Hope asked Deacon about Sheila and he still seems to be unsure. Excuse me. Hope asked Deacon about Sheila and he still seems to be unsure about where they stand. Raymond hard-headed self went to see Luna after Deke told him to keep his distance. Ivy was reminding Electra of what she already forgave, the fact that Will kept a secret from her. I said, now, I understand you looking out for your niece. Hold on. I said, I understand you looking out for your niece. But I feel like in this situation, if she listens to her and they break up, she gonna be the first person trying to hook them back together, trying to hook them back up. But yeah, I was like, now how many times they gonna show you telling her what she already know? I said, just tell her that you don't want them to be together, that you don't think that they should be together at this point, because she already done told you they working on it, they trying to fix it and everything. It wasn't his fault, even though he did lie about, sleeping with her and he didn't tell her the truth or whatever. But you keep on reminding her. I was like, Ivy, you need to worry about Liam over here marrying Hope over here to my son. You happy and all this other stuff. All this other stuff. But yeah, what else? Katie was just telling Will that she's proud of him for how he's handling everything. And that was about it. Now, when they went back to Luna, they showed her she was still sitting there at the visitation room or whatever, in the visitation room. And she was like, she got a bad feelings about this or whatever. I was like, okay, who about to visit her? I said, who about to visit her? I was wondering if it was going to be Katie or Will. I said, Will, you better not go back over there. I said, you better not go back over there. Because she was already telling Remy on today's episode how, she won't be in there for long. I said, you been in there for what? How long she been in there now, y'all? About doggone time. She's still in jail. She's still in jail so far. I said, next thing you know, she gonna make it seem like she feel or something, like she feel on her stomach or something like that. I said, that's what's gonna be next. If they don't help her the way she want them to help her, she gonna be acting like she feel on her stomach or something. But hey, y'all, welcome back to another review. Life Chess for the Bold and Beautiful, October 31st, 2025. First things first, let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. What y'all think that y'all like the episode? Nothing really happened. I think on the promo for next week's episode, Sheila gonna be trying to come to the wedding. She gonna be talking to Deacon or whatever, saying how she's his wife or whatever. So she's supposed to be right there. Beth gonna be telling her parents how she doesn't want Sheila and them to be there. And I said, now who don't tell Beth about the psychopath? But yeah, she gonna be saying that. Deke gonna be trying to beg, not Deke. Remy gonna be trying to beg Deke for his forgiveness and stuff. I said, see, you messed up. You messed up. Y'all talking about love this and love that. I mean, you could have saved it just like Sheila over here. I said, you sure you ain't no kin to Sheila? You sure you're not no kin to Sheila? But yeah, I said you could have saved yourself. You knew doggone well what you had done. That's the first thing. You could have been told him before this whole little meetup, before he started working at Force of Creation, before he met Electra, all this stuff. If he wasn't going to tell then, when he told you he wanted you to come there and meet everybody, you could have told him then. So he'd be like, no, you shouldn't be coming. You can't come in there and mess up what I got going on or something. And you just continue to lie. Now you want to cry and tell him not to, end things between y'all. It's your own fault. Just like Sheila Jr., hard-headed self. But I think that's all they showed. I think they showed, like I said, Beth saying how she don't want Sheila at their wedding or whatever. Deke begging for forgiveness. Am I missing somebody? I don't know if I'm missing anybody or not. But okay, on today's episode, Electra and Will were just talking about Deke and the fact that they there to celebrate him and they're going to meet his boyfriend and everything. And she was excited. She was like, if Deke a good person, she feel like he's a good person. So, whoever his boyfriend is, then he's going to be a good person too. Shoot. But yeah, it's revealed that Deke's about to bring Remy to meet everybody. And once again, I was like, why would you go there? Then, that wasn't even the worst part. The fact that you walking in there knowing doggone well what you did. It's the fact that you think you finna work there. I mean, he ain't wrong because they can be forgiving stuff fast in the mud. They begin amnesia fast in the mud, so who knows at this point. One day they don't like him, next week they'll be having him work there. But yeah, they end up showing Remy and Luna. Remy stops to visit Luna, and she was talking about getting out and how she ain't gonna stay there for long. They were just talking about that. And I said, didn't your boyfriend tell you not to go your tail there? Not to visit her, not to have anything to do with her? But you want to be hard-headed. The second time you done been hard-headed, you could have easily told him the truth. So he wouldn't have been blindsided or anything like that. You gonna walk in there all proud and smiling and stuff. What you smiling for? I said, why you don't walk there? You knew doggone well you ain't had no business going there. You could have told him before he agreed to bring you. You could have been told him. You had every opportunity. And you gonna walk in there all proudly and stuff. But yeah, I wonder how Ivy knew who he was, because everybody else, I know Electra had told them about him and stuff like that and what he did, told Hope and them, but I know that they didn't actually, they hadn't meet him, they hadn't met him. But how did she know? Cause she was shocked. She was like, and she was covering her mouth and stuff, all shocked. This fool done walked in there. I said, "What you walking there for? You knew doggo well." But yeah, what else? Let's see. Alicia said Deacon's a good guy. Hope answered asking Deacon what's going on with him and Sheila. And like I said, he seems unsure because they was talking about whether or not he was gonna stay with her. And he was like, "Would I do or not?" You know what he said? He said him leaving Sheila may not happen or whatever. He's still not sure. He's still not sure. And I was like, yeah, y'all over it. Y'all over it. Now the little girl, his granddaughter, talking about so she don't want Sheila there. She said them at first. Then she said Sheila in the trailer. So I was like, yeah, he gonna have a problem with this right here. He can't go to his daughter wedding and stuff because of Sheila. But yeah, I was like, Sheila, you did it to yourself, girl. But yeah, Ivy ends up asking Lecture if the stuff with Luna is too much to handle. And I was like, once again, I understand this your needs. You keep trying to look out for her and stuff like that. But at the same time, you just flat out tell her you don't think this is a good idea. It's too much to handle. It's the fact that he lied and was okay with sleeping with you doing doggo way so somebody else the night before that. But you just keep on and keep on. I said, you telling her what she already knows. She already forgave him. And I said, then when they break up, because I assume that's going to eventually happen, she'll be the first one trying to get them back together. That's exactly how it be going. Y'all be the main one in their ear. The next thing you know, you over here, yeah, you should get back with this person. Yeah, just follow your own self at this point. But yeah, what else? Let's see. We already talked about Deacon. We already talked about Ivy. Luna ends up telling, Remy was telling Luna about how he going to meet everybody and stuff like that. And she was like, basically he walking into a lion's den. I said, exactly. I said, this is one time I have to agree with Luna, you fool. You fool. But yeah, Remy was telling her how he doesn't want to lose Dick and stuff like that. He's like, he gonna go. Katie tells Will she's proud of him for how he's handling things. I already said Ivy keep reminding Later what she already forgave. Remy was talking to Deke saying how, it's always been a dream of mine to work in fashion and stuff like that. What if we work together? I said, fool, you got to get up out of there. You got to go. What you talking about? Talking about working in fashion. I said, dude, you ain't got no business being there. You know what you did. He walked in there with a smile on his face. I was like, what you thought was going to happen? Then when everybody started reacting, how they was reacting, he want to look all shocked and stuff. Look, Deke standing up there looking like a fool. Don't know what's going on because he ain't told him to do the freaking squat. I was like, see, never get nobody no chance to one up you. Tell your truth. He could have easily told him. But yeah, what else? Let's see. I said, now Remy want to work in fashion. Luna tells Remy not to go to Force of Creation. It'll blow up in his face. She was sitting up there by herself saying how she thinks she got a bad feeling about this. And she was right. Now, we haven't actually seen everything. We won't see it until Monday, I'm assuming, because y'all know how they be. But yeah, like I said, Deke walked in there and they was like, where is the tree guy? Where is your friend and stuff like that? So next thing you know, he done walked his happy tail up in there and stuff, just got a big smile on his face like he ain't did nothing. Then what he said, I think when he's talking to Luna about Latria, she was like, she's not forgiving and stuff like that. Well, no, not for you especially, because you run around murdering people. I don't understand what you thought this was, but yeah. And she was just warning him, and he's like, no, I just wanted her to be my friend, and I just, basically, that was the only person I had, and I was afraid of losing her. Now you're afraid of losing Deke and everything. But yeah, that's all that happened, y'all. Let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces, have a good rest of the day and be safe.